It says we're live. Hello, everyone. You're watching an episode of Best Advice Ever. With me today is Thomas Beer. He does a variety of atheist advocating things online. Thomas, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing all right. How are you, Andy?
I'm doing pretty well, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
I am uncomfortable with positive feelings, positive emotions, but I am managing them well today. For people who aren't aware of what you do, who you are, you want to give them a small thumbnail?
Sure. Okay. Well, I've got a couple of Facebook pages. I started off with Holy Jalapeno, which is an atheist memes page. Then I've got Off the Chain Atheist apparel for my atheist apparel that I design. I'm a member of the atheist community of Austin, here in Austin, Texas. And I guess that's about it. I've got a group, Facebook group also, that just recently broke the 4,000 members a couple of months ago, or a few months ago. And other than that, that's not much. I guess that's about it, really.
Cool.
So as far as did you want to go ahead and go into it?
Well, I'm just, we don't have to go into it immediately.
Okay.
I've never been to Austin, and Austin seems to be a hub for godlessness. Is it just a blue dot in a raging sea of red over there in Texas?
Quite a bit. Really, there's a lot of red here in Texas, but the bigger cities tend to be more liberal. Right.
My girlfriend has relatives in Houston, and which I know might be like a distance away from where Austin is. But the next time we head down to Texas, my goal is to stop in at least in Austin, say hello to people, make the rounds.
Cool. That'd be good to meet you.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's always because we interact with each other on Facebook, and but it's always. And of course, obviously now we're on camera with each other, but it's always nice to sit down, have a cup of coffee or whatever,
right.
And hang out, and have especially
the in person.
What's that? Yeah, see people see you in person, especially after COVID. Whenever COVID-19 does end, whenever we're all vaccinated, actually just going out and seeing people again,
right,
will be nice.
Right, very much so. I mean, that's one thing. The COVID has affected me more than I realized, because shortly after quarantine started, my mental health went down a bit because I didn't have the in-person community each week there at the ACA like I had before. So it's definitely something. Online friendships and communication is good, but it doesn't. It's just not quite the same as in person.
You're right about that, and that's one of the stories we don't hear a lot about, are people having difficulty with their mental health, with anxiety or depression or a host of other issues. And I'm sure we'll be hearing about it once the vaccine is out for everybody, and there'll be many stories about it. But yeah, I think not enough is out there in the press right now about how people are really grappling. During the crisis.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. So I think this is a good place to pivot to. What was the best advice you ever heard?
Yeah. Well, the best advice I've ever heard, or some of it at least, is back before March of 2019, when I first heard about Atheist Day International from Armand Navivi. I went and I talked to James Boone. He was the president of the ACA at the time. And I asked them if they knew about it and if they had anything going on for it, and which they didn't. And so I told them what I knew about it, and he pretty much put the ball in my court, and under their supervision, of course, and said, "Go for it, see what you can do." And this was the very first time I've organized any kind of event whatsoever of any size. And so I had an idea initially that I wanted to have something on the Capitol grounds, of the state capitol. And so I first Googled to see what it took to do that. And I found out everything that was required and started going about the process. But pretty much the advice itself was just go for it and see what you can do. And I did, and it turned out to be an awesome event. We expected about 75 to 100 people, and we had about 150. And we had 10 speakers: Aaron Raw, Thomas Westbrook, Seth Andrews, several others. And really, to me, that's the best advice I think I've ever gotten, really. Or at least, so to me, it's the greatest accomplishment in my life, my pride and joy. So,
well, congratulations on that, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think a lot of people feel like they're held, like they hold themselves back, right? They don't feel empowered enough to actually go out and do the thing that they really want to do.
Right. Yeah.
So have you found that the advice of just basically going out and doing it, has that affected other areas of your life?
I'm not sure, buddy. I'm pretty much a homebody. I don't get out a whole lot, do a whole lot of things. But I guess as far as my graphic design, it's not really a business. It's just a hobby that lets me a little change each month. But I've never know who might like what kind of design or whatnot. So I guess it's kind of bled over into that a little bit. Some of the ideas for designs and stuff I'll do, and I'll put it out there. And somebody may like it, somebody may not. Yeah.
Right. I've seen your designs; they're very cool. Good stuff. And I imagine the advice of doing it or doing what you want or what you feel like you need to do is beneficial for, I don't know, many artists out there, whether you're a visual artist or you're a musician or even an entrepreneur, for example. It's just solid advice that you shouldn't be listening to fear, right?
Right. Yeah.
So have you given the advice? Have you given this advice to anyone else?
No, not that I can think of. I probably should. If some kind of situation came about, I probably would.
Right. So how you were talking about having difficulty during the pandemic? How have you been managing it? What are the positive things that you're doing to keep yourself on track?
Just try to stay up on my meds. I've started seeing a therapist actually a few weeks ago for other issues, but talking to my doc and just not a whole lot really.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're doing the work, right? It sounds like you're doing important stuff. As a person who has seen a therapist in the past, I can say that I've definitely found that helpful.
Yeah, I've seen them 3 times. I started going to a couple of support groups, virtual groups, and all. So I haven't done too much of them yet, though.
Right. So for the support groups, is it like a Zoom meeting?
Yeah, Zoom meetings. So pretty good. Virtual. It's all virtual right now.
Right. Is it now? I know that there are different kinds of support groups, right? You have AA, which is Alcoholics Anonymous, and Narcotics Anonymous. Which, I mean, it seems to me there's a lot of religious stuff in there.
Right. Yeah, there are. The support groups I go are all on Facebook. One of them is Godless Mental Health, and there's a couple other ones.
Godless Mental Health. I think I want to check that out.
Yeah. In fact, let me see if I can find the exact name of it.
Right. That sounds like an important. It's an important resource for people to have, being able to get into a group setting, talk about your issues, listen to other people's issues, but without having the God stuff rammed down their throat.
Right.
Yeah. Did you come from a religious background?
Yeah, I grew up in the Methodist church. Yeah, that's the name of the group, just Godless Mental Health.
All right.
And I grew up Methodist. I even went to church camp all the way through my senior year. And then after high school, I was in and out of church, mostly out. The times I did go was if it was with the girlfriend I was dating or a particularly low point in my life. And I was giving church a try again. But it was mostly out after high school. And a few times there were a few times I even helped out with youth groups and stuff like that. But I had questions. Sorry, I'm sweating like a pig here.
That's okay.
I had questions when I was a kid that I always got BS answers like, God works in mysterious ways. Who are we to question the Lord? Who are we to question the pastor? Stuff like that. And as a kid, those answers were enough, to make me dismiss my questions for a while because playtime was far more important.
Right.
So, but as I got older, the questions came back and still were getting the BS non-answers, from church members or clergy. So I started researching for myself. I learned a bit about how religions came about, how they were formed, how one came before another, and the formation of them. What's the word I'm looking for? History of them, basically,
Right.
and all. And I came to the conclusion that they were all BS. Took me a while. I went through a spiritual, but not religious phase. I went through a phase where I looked into Wicca and a couple other different things like that, and I guess I was about 22 to 24 or so when I finally shed the chains of religious lies completely. And then from then till 2016, when I first joined social media, I was pretty much a closet atheist. Didn't know anybody else. Only knew one or two other atheists in person. And after joining social media, I found all these groups and started joining a bunch of them and went from there. Then in September of 2018 was my first time to go to the Atheist Community Austin for their Talk Heathen and Atheist Experience shows to watch them. I met Aaron Law. He was there the first time I went there, and when I was shaking and stuttering when I was trying to introduce myself to him. I was like, Right. I was such a shock. I was like, oh wow, oh my goodness. Aaron's kind of like celebrity along the atheist world, kind of, So at least the first one I knew. Thomas Westbrook was actually the first atheist activist content creator that I met online back in 2016. That was when he was still traveling some parts of Asia and all.
Yep.
So
yeah. Thomas Westbrook's a good guy. I've talked to him a couple of times. Been on my channel a couple of times.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, good guy. Hey, we've been talking for 13 minutes. I haven't even said that, dude. What a great last name you have, Bear.
That's my adopted name.
That's your adopted. It's still a great name, man. My adopted last name is Hall, which is pretty not awesome. That's good. Native American in origin?
No, my adopted family. My grandmother was German. Her maiden name was Zybel, if I remember right, and she married a guy named Bear. But so my adopted mom never married. So my birth name was Dixon. So
Dixon. All right.
Yeah. I've got Scottish, Irish, and Norse ancestry.
Yep. I took a one of those genetic history tests. I don't know, 23andMe, I think it was. And it turns out I'm just white trash.
I have to disagree with that.
No, why? Thank you. See the kind words there. But basically, I am about as close to a Trump supporter as you can get. I am just I'm just white. That's of course it's a little bit more complicated than that, but
right.
It's basically just white. So So, dude, yeah, good advice. Just going out there and doing it, not being held back by fear. And I think the real interesting second point, maybe even the second piece of advice, is just, especially in this time of COVID, is reaching out to different groups, just for support.
Right.
Just for support. And that Godless Mental Health, that Facebook group, that sounds really interesting. I'm gonna check it out when we're done talking today, because I think a lot of people could benefit from that within our community.
Yeah, that group I don't think has any Zoom meetings. They're just there as a group, But one I have done is actually the Satanic Sober Faction group is one that I have done a couple of Zoom meetings on, so that was pretty interesting. I've actually prior to joining that group, I had a friend of mine suggest it, and I never knew much about TST or anything, so I looked it up and I read the 7 tenets, and the 7 tenets of Satanic Temple were actually pretty solid. It's all it's more about empowering oneself.
Oh, it totally is much more moral than the 10 Commandments. That's for sure.
Yeah, far much.
Yeah. I just started a Sunday night show at 10:30 Eastern time with my buddy Jack Maturko, and Jack is a member of the Satanic Temple out in Arizona. Has been for years, and we've been lucky enough to get a couple of Satanists on. Just talking about what's going on with CST right now. But it's a good organization.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So what do you have coming up? You making up new designs? You got anything going on?
Not at this moment. I don't. I just made a new design yesterday. That a simple one. It's got kind of a, I don't know how to describe the effects that I put on it, but it says Jesus is myth, and it's got a cross for the T. My design work isn't steady. It's come and go, So.
Well, I found it difficult during COVID-19, right? Because everyone's out of work. I've been out of work for months, and I was, I'll tell you this: my stimulus, my check from the government went to Christmas presents, and I know that I'm lucky enough to be in a position where I could use that $600 for Christmas presents and not for rent or for bills. And I know I'm fortunate about that. But people just, they just don't have the money to buy stuff. Even if they love your design, even if it's really clever, eye-catching, they just don't have the cash to spend these days.
Right. That's understandable. Things have been rough for a lot of people for a long time, but now because of COVID, that number has greatly expanded. There's a lot more people, feeling the hurt.
Oh yeah, true enough. So, brother, where can people find you online?
Can find my Facebook profile by searching for either Off the Chain Atheist or Thomas C. Bear. My profile has most of my links on it. And then there's also, I've got a Linktree link, also use OTC Atheist on Linktree that has all my links together. But I guess the easiest way is just looking for me, either OTCA Atheist on Twitter or Off the Chain Atheist on Facebook.
Cool.
That'd be the easiest place to start. My Facebook profile has all my links too, I think.
Right. Well, thanks for coming on. Continue the good work that you're doing, and definitely, it sounds like you're on track with doing therapy and keeping your head above water, psychologically speaking. And hopefully, in 6 months, we'll all be vaccinated, man.
Right. Hopefully so.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Sure. Everyone in the chat, thanks for showing up. Thanks for commenting. This has been fun. I am going to be doing a live stream on this channel at 12:45. We're going to be talking about the craziness of the electoral votes being counted or not counted. I don't know what's going to happen. It's what we're going to be in it. We're in it together, basically. Right. 12:45. Catch me here. Right. Thomas, once again, thanks a lot, man.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
Next time.
And